Hi everyone, it's Feel for the pace of the course. So you know that on a weekly basis you are expected to cover the lecture materials, which are our readings, lecture videos, lecture notes. If you want to do the module quiz at the end of each module, you're more than welcome to. Again, it's a practice quiz, so those points, even though you'll see them on your grade book, they don't actually count towards your grade, right? So that's just an extra quiz to sort of test to see whether or not that you understand the content in this particular module. So once you've done that, then you move on to your lab folder, which again, the lab is intended to be sort of a practical application of what you have learned in lecture, right? So this last week we learned all about population, what we call logistics, or population growth patterns, if you will. We talked about patterns in nature, and then we talked about human populations, and then the lab was all about populations, right? That's kind of the idea, so that the firsthand application of that knowledge, that's what the lab is intended to be. And then once you're finished with that, then you can move on to things like participating in the discussion board. And ideally, you would do the check-in quiz at the very, very end, because the goal then is for me to look through those surveys and see, which concepts, if there were any, that you guys need help with. So, for example, last week I found that a lot of people were still pretty confused when it came to those biogeochemical cycles. Like it didn't work for a lot of you. So if you have looked at the message forum this last week, you'll notice that I actually shared with everyone a graphic organizer. And again, a graphic organizer works for some people and for other people it doesn't work. But the idea behind a graphic organizer is you can actually sort of write out some information in an easy to view document that helps you to sort of quickly and clearly compare those different nutrient cycles. So water and nitrogen and phosphorus and carbon, and looking at, okay, where do we find them in non-living things, and what types of living things do we find them in, and how are humans impacting these cycles? So this is completely voluntary. This isn't something that you have to use, but if you find yourself struggling to understand the differences, then I definitely recommend hitting on sort of this additional piece of information, which again is meant to sort of help organize your thoughts when it comes to those nutrient cycles. Once again, please make sure you watch those videos from the previous module 2. I had a whole folder of these quick 2-3 minute videos on the biogeochemical cycles. They're very short and hopefully, again, very to the point about what you need to know about all of those. So let's go back to this week, which is our week 4 module, and let's take a quick look at what we're doing this week. So in this particular module, we're going to be talking about air pollution. So we're going to talk about different types of pollutants in the air. We're going to talk about how they impact human health. We're going to talk about the difference between indoor and outdoor air pollution, because there are differences there and different things we're exposed to. And we have many of the same assignments this week that we've had in the previous weeks. So you still need to do the lab and the lab quiz. You still need to do the discussion, which the discussion leaders, once again, are still in charge of. So each week I'm going to send out a reminder email to all the discussion leaders, just as a reminder, hey, you're the discussion leader this week. Make sure you get that discussion question posted, again, ideally sooner in the week rather than later, because a lot of your fellow students do their work sort of towards the middle to end of the week, and so if you don't post until late, then they can't post until late. My cutoff again is Thursday of the week you're leading discussion, because I want to make sure that there's a few days for those students to post responses to your discussion questions. So moving here into our assignments folder. So once again, here's the link to your Learning Teams discussion board. If you are a discussion leader this week, here's a video that describes how you can create that forum on Blackboard so that your fellow group mates can access that. And then we have something a little different this week. In addition to our normal assignments, we're also going to start to dive into our semester-long project. So for those of you who hopefully read over the syllabus, you saw that there was a green technology project that we're working on. So just very, very briefly, because I do give you a whole video that explains the green technology project, but in general, what the green technology project is I want you to go out there and find some sort of new, exciting, emerging solution to a current problem that we're facing. So as far as environmental science goes. So the idea here is that in this class, we talk an awful lot about the problems facing our environment, right? All the things that are wrong, all the things that are a challenge to us, all the bad things that are happening, right? But on the flip side of that, I want to show you that there are people out there who are striving to make a difference, who really are trying to improve things. And they're trying to improve these things through these different innovations, right? And so I want you to go out and find some of these. So find some examples of some of these projects that are making a difference or that they aim to make a difference. Maybe they're so new that they haven't been employed yet, but here's this great idea and here's what could come of it. That's the idea behind the Green Tech Project, is I want you to highlight something that can make a difference. So this week, the first part of the project is due, and that's a topic brainstorm. All you have to come up with is a few ideas on things you might want to talk about. So it'll probably take maybe 15 or 20 minutes of an online search to look into some of these different types of technologies, read about them a little bit, see what maybe interests you, and then write down your ideas and send them to me. So that's the topic brainstorm. It's fairly simple. Again, I just want a couple of ideas from you. So tell me that you're interested in developing clean water for poor countries. I'm sure there's some sort of a project out there that's working on a technology to do that. So you would write that down. I'm interested in this clean water project, and here's what they aim to do. So just give me a little brief synopsis of what the project is or what the technology is. The idea here is that I can read through it and very quickly say, oh yeah, that could be a very promising idea. Or the reason I want you to give me a couple of ideas is just in case something doesn't quite fit, I can come back to you and say, this particular option you chose might not be the right one, but these other two would be just fine. That's the idea. So again, for more information, please watch the video. We also, in the course materials folder here, we have a whole folder all about the Green Technology Project / presentation. I use the two terms interchangeably, but there's lots of documents in here which the video covers as well. So please make sure that you take a look at that. So back here to our week 4 folder, you'll also notice that there's a new folder this week, and these are study materials for the exam. So the exam happens during week 6, and the exam is going to cover all of the topics that we have discussed so far. So that includes the scientific method, the intro to environmental science, ecology and ecosystems, population, air pollution, and then the next topic we're going to cover is climate change. All of those are going to be on this first exam. You have 2 options for the exam, and it's entirely up to you which one you want to do. You can either do an essay-only version of the exam, where I will actually give you 6 possible questions. So in this document here, this study guide essay version, I'm going to give you 6 questions, and you are guaranteed to see 4 of those on the day of the exam. So you've got the questions in front of you, you know exactly how to prepare, and this study guide will help you get there, right? For those of you who aren't big fans of writing, or maybe you don't think that you would perform best on a all written exam, you can take the traditional exam, which is a traditional multiple choice exam. I'm also providing a study guide for that exam as well. So this is more topical. So you'll see an outline of you need to know and understand the following, and then there's topics for everything that we covered so far, right? So same idea, you'll prepare in the same way. It's just a little bit different because this will be, again, the more typical multiple choice type exam. So this information is here. Again, I also give you a lecture exam information summary. So this tells you exactly about what to expect the week of the exam, what you need to do. And again, we'll hit on this again a little bit later, but I wanted to give you these materials now so you can start thinking about preparing yourself. In the week 5 module folder, I am going to have a sign-up sheet for people who are interested in study sessions. So these would be optional study sessions that, again, you don't have to attend, but if you're able to attend, you can. I'm going to create a Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. It's through Blackboard platform. So you would just come to our Blackboard page and you would click on the link and it would open a live session similar to like a Zoom if you've used Zoom before, but it happens through Blackboard. And the idea here is that you would come to me with questions you want me to answer, right? So I'm not teaching content specifically. I mean, I'll review content, but you have to be prepared to come to me and ask me, I'm having trouble understanding this. Can you explain it for me? And that's what the study sessions are for, right? They're student generated. That's the idea. So I want you to come with your questions, and then I am here to help you understand those things. So in our week 5 module folder, I will have a sign-up sheet. I'm going to ask you the days of the week and the times that work best for you. And then I will schedule probably 3 of those sessions as my goal. And I will try to work around as many people's schedule as I possibly can. So I think that's all for our week 4 module. Oh, I didn't sort of step into the lab this week, but the lab is about air pollution. So it's fairly self-explanatory. And again, the lab quiz, remember, based on the previous week's lab that you did, not the current week lab that you're doing. So that was something I did notice when grading lab quizzes, is some of you started answering questions about the lab that you were currently doing. Lab quizzes are about the lab you did the previous week, so just keep that in mind. So I think that's all for our next learning module. If you have any questions at all, of course, please let me know. Thanks, everybody.